Man, what's crazy is when I was going through the summer workouts, they ruled me eligible the whole time. Oh. But after my first game, they ruled me ineligible.
Because you was 32, 12, and 8. Bro, he went ham. I'm like, they ain't gonna drop 8 assists with this?
This week, we're joined by my young guy, James Wiseman. Wise has had some up and downs throughout his career, but as you'll learn from this fascinating conversation, he has so much going for himself on and off the court, and I think he'll definitely win in the end. How did you come to be on Point Forward Podcast?
Man, Andre literally gave me the text. Really, he told me yesterday, 2 days ago, he was like, hey, you want to come to the podcast? I was like, yeah, spit some games, spit something about basketball, and just talk about real stuff.
Now, I see he hasn't listened to none of the podcast because he said talk about basketball. But I'm going to go further from where you come from, Nashville, Tennessee. It's not a hotbed as an NBA talent city. How did you get to the NBA coming from where you came from?
I got to the NBA just by my ambition. Really, in middle school, it all started for me. Mm-hmm. 7th grade, I was 6'4". 8th grade, I grew to 6'8". Then that's when I started developing my skills. My coach gave me some drills, like just small stuff, like going outside. Like my 7th grade summer, I was going outside every day, all summer, just working on my hops. My coach told me to do 5-minute jump ropes because I didn't have my bounce like that in 7th grade. 8th grade, when I grew, that's when I just started doing jump ropes 5 minutes a day. I started creating like time sheets and just like different sheets for myself in the house and put it up on the wall and like, man, I'm gonna do 10 calf raises, 100 calf raises a day, 100 push-ups a day. Yeah, and just working on my bounce and stuff. And like, that's when my skills started developing really like at a rapid rate, just in 8th grade.
You think that type of work ethic early on, do you think that was the biggest impact you had in your life? Like just learn how to work early and the results of it?
Yeah, because my mom, she worked 2 jobs and my dad worked 2 jobs, so I was the man of the house. My sister was in college as I started going through high school, so I had to just be the man of the house. I had to do everything on my own. I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to clean and do a lot of stuff so that when my mom get back home, she don't got to worry about it. But at the same time, I was outside working on my game and in practice, I was just in the gym all night, all day. Like when my friends had parties and they wanted me to go to parties in high school, I didn't go to parties. I just committed myself in the gym.
Yeah. So that gets you ready for, being committed. And obviously, a lot of kids your age want to be out and party and enjoy themselves. But your journey, your path was way different with the work ethic and the accountability. But also, too, you picked up and for the sake of basketball, relocated.
Right.
That was a mature move. You understood for the betterment of your opportunity. But going in that, were you nervous? Or was that just always something you knew you were going to do? Like, this is the best opportunity for me. This is what I'm doing.
No, just like what Andre said, it's not that much talent in Tennessee. Right. So I had to get more exposure and just going over there playing in Memphis East, playing with Penny Hardaway, like him knowing the game and him just giving me film about Shaq and like how he used to run the floor and just small stuff like that. And he really didn't treat me as a traditional big man. Like he treated me as a big man that can develop guard skills. Yeah. So we used to be in the gym and he used to just drill me with just guard skills. And I used to just do it every day, every morning. We used to go to the gym every night. Me and Javante Holmes, we used to be in the gym after school, after practice, and just put that work in. So, yeah.
And I'm not sure if I've even shared this with E.T., but Penny had like probably the largest impact on my basketball life. Like if you go back into my 6th grade, 7th grade basketball photos I had on Penny's.
Oh, wow.
And I was a point guard from like all the way up, like point forward. That's, E.T.'s been a point guard. We've been point guards, but we were the tallest guys on the floor. And Penny was that for me. And so just seeing him, what he's been able to do at East in Memphis, and now he's at Memphis, the university. It's just every time I see him, I get like jitters. It's interesting. So in saying that, what was it like, meeting him for the first time and what, how did your relationship grow with him?
Man, it was crazy. It was the first game, and 9th, 10th grade, I went to private school. I went to Ensworth High School. So he came to one of my games, and I think I had like 20 and 10 in like the first half, something like that. And man, as I was running down the court, he was actually coming into the gym, and I was like, man, this Penny Hardaway, like that's crazy. I don't know how he was able to find me, but man, he just popped up to my game. And then after the game, we chopped it up. And that's when like everything like just went from there. Like he got my number, and then that's how we just started going back and forth about the game and just asking questions and stuff. Yeah. And mind you, this is my sophomore year. So
were you're well aware of everything Penny meant to, you know, the state of Tennessee basketball and just like all that? Like were you just
Yeah, man, in Memphis, like just everywhere. Like you see Penny on billboards in Memphis, like just everywhere you see him, newspapers and everything. So I wanted to, like I just visualized myself like one day becoming that. So like that pushed me harder too. That's what took my grind to a whole different level. Just by seeing him and just by like him being there in Memphis and just seeing his inspiration on the kids, like that made me want to work harder so I can one day be in that position as well.
Now, we've been asking you a lot of the whys, you know, why you've done what you've done to get where you're at. And now that you're here, has your motivation changed any way? And if so, in what way? Or has it still the constant of what you've always had it?
I've always had it ever since I was younger, when I told you about like the sheets that I used to put on my wall, just like the small workouts and stuff every day. Like it's just that self-discipline. And I was like, man, do I want to, experience the pain of self-discipline or experience the pain of self-regret? Man, my mom working 2 jobs, my dad working 2 jobs. So I got to make sure that I be that focal point for my family. So like that's what just pushed me. I'm always have that ambition no matter what.
And you're very mature beyond your years. You know, I know you said you were the man of the house, you were on your own. A little something many people don't know about you is you speak Mandarin.
Yeah.
At what age did that start?
Yeah.
Man, it started literally my first year I went to private school, like 9th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, 9th grade I went to private school. 8th grade I was in public school. My mama took me to private school just for a better education, just for more exposure, you know. Right. So, man, that's when it took off from there.
So it's like Ni Hao Ma.
Ni Hao Ma. Wadapangyo, Bukachi, like it's just a lot of, man, I can do a lot of stuff.
Shishini.
So how far could you go with the language? You know, could you exist in China without having to revert back to English? Or are you that proficient in Mandarin, or you would have to split between Mandarin and English if you were in China? Man,
to be honest, in 9th, 10th grade, like I started speaking fluently like around 10th grade year. But since I made that transition to go to Memphis East, I kind of forgot something a little bit. Yeah. But man, 9th, 10th grade, like I was getting straight A's on everything because I was just like, so we had a test to where like you had to write the ping, which is like the pronunciation of the word, but also write the Chinese character. So like I used to just write it like literally 100 times each character. So when I used to go to my exams, I used to remember it off top, and then I used to just write it down and get an A+ on it. So, but yeah, like, man, it was hard at the same time. It was super hard.
Yeah, but one thing you do that I've noticed is like repetition.
Yeah.
Like even when you say you put the notes up, try to get your jump higher, get stronger, even just with, the Chinese wording, like repetition. Is that like one thing that you always bring out that you know for sure? Jordan Poole said prior to, he just said like the work isn't, he just wants to make sure the work doesn't fail him. So it's like that's something that even during this tough time, even when you tore your meniscus not too long ago, was that something where you got hurt? Were you ready to be like, all right, I'm going to push through this. I've been through this a million times and I'm just going to wrap it out until I get to where I want to go? Because aside from a knee injury, that be a top pick and, have to take your path in the first 3 years is, you really have to be poised and, chop wood and carry water.
Yeah.
Right. To be honest, going through that adversity was very hard for me because I'm such a competitor. So just watching the game, it kind of made me sick to my stomach a little bit because I wanted to be out there to contribute to the team, but I wasn't able to because I was in a situation that I couldn't control.
Yeah.
So, man, just seeing that, it made me work even harder. It put more of a battery in my back to just make sure that I appreciate the game more when I'm back out there. And that's as I'm back out here, like I'm willing to learn and just do anything I can to be the best version of myself. Because, man, that injury taught me that, like, what you love can get taken away quickly.
Right.
So you got to cherish it.
That's real. So we have this segment in our show called Guns and Butter. And a lot of people call it, they think it's like the macroeconomic principle, but it's just a segment on our show that we got from the movie Baby Boy.
Okay.
And it's Ving Rhames. He discusses the difference between guns and butter, which is basically the micro decisions.
Yeah.
Small decisions that you make right now that don't seem huge, but in retrospect, they're a big deal.
Right.
What was something that occurred in your life where you thought was a big deal? Was it meeting Penny? Was it, sitting there and, like I said prior to, really, deciding that you're going to make it to the NBA or make it a goal to climb that mountain? Like, what do you think yours was?
I feel like it was just self-ambition, self-driven, like just being driven to just love the game. Like I always loved the game. I always used to watch different games, different NBA games ever since I was 6, 7 years old, just visualizing myself one day being out there. So it's always been something that was inside of me, which is my faith.
Yeah.
And that's what got me through my adversity, got me through everything. And that's why I'm still here, because I just didn't give up. I had my faith.
Yeah, well, talk about your adversity. I mean, I think your story with the torn meniscus and everything get you, expound upon that, because that's a teaching point to young kids and, players that might hit the league and get hurt early on. Like,
yeah,
go through the non-glitz and glamorous parts of that, because to be going out for 16, 17 months, like,
no one knows anything about rehab.
Yeah, rehab.
Unless you're in it.
Or in between the self-doubt or, impatience or...
Man, one thing about rehab is repetitive and it's tedious. So you're doing the same thing every day. And you got to give it the same energy every day, because if you don't, then that's like less of work that you put in. You got to be 110% come with the rehab, and you got to be mentally there. Mm-hmm. Most days, like I wasn't mentally there. Most days, to be honest, like I didn't feel like I had the energy or like what it took to go work out. But I was like, no, I can't let my team down. And also I can't let myself down, because I got that faith and that self-ambition inside of me that like I want to be the best I want to be, so I can't give up. So like that resilience and just that perseverance, it just like, it was more of a self-battle than just basketball. Like going through an injury and going through rehab is more like self-explanatory. And me going through that made me stronger as a man, like not only as a basketball player.
Mm-hmm. And I want to compare that to the situation that happened at Memphis, essentially. How many games you play at Memphis?
I only played 3.
You played 3 games, right?
3 games.
And it was
assist numbers is up there. Assist numbers is like that.
No, I appreciate it.
And we take it back. The NCAA declared you ineligible for a period of time. You just end up taking a whole year off because they said it was improper benefits. Yeah. And just walk us through that whole situation. And are you aware of how your situation came to affect, essentially what is our NIL deal now? You know what I mean? Like you kind of changed the landscape of college basketball, but just kind of take us through that whole situation where you're going to Memphis to play for Penny, and then you just hit, and it's like you came to a halt.
Man, that situation was tricky because I'm an 18-year-old kid coming into college and just want to win a national championship. Like that's the goal for every team that comes in, every player that want to come in. So that was my goal. We had Precious Achua, we had Lester Quinones, we had Boogie Ellis, we had a squad. Yeah. And
I played with 3 guys on that team.
Yeah, Lester can go.
I just played with Lester. Yeah. Precious was my rookie in Miami.
Too. Precious is a dog. But man, just going to Memphis, like that's what I expected. And so like when all that stuff happened, man, what's crazy is when I was going through the summer workouts, they ruled me eligible the whole time. Oh. But after my first game, they ruled me ineligible.
Because you was 32, 12, and 8. Bro, he went ham. I'm like, they ain't going to drop 8 assists with this? like, legit. It was crazy, bro.
Man.
You was too good early, bro.
Nah, man. Appreciate that. But, man, to be honest with you, like, I wanted to do that. That was my dream. Yeah. Like, go to college and actually, like, I wanted to go to college.
Right.
Yeah,
so, man, when NCAA did all that stuff, man, it just took a turmoil on me mentally, but my family as well. Yeah. So, it was a hard situation. Like I had to grow up fast after that.
Because basically you really only had your next game was probably a year later. So how'd you stay locked in and focused? Like that was 8 or 9 months. And and obviously outside looking in, we knew you'd be a top pick, but that's the first time you ever probably didn't compete or play, when the season's going on or right. At a young age, that's your identity. I'm not saying for confidence, but it's just like what you know. So what was that like? Where'd you go? What advice did Penny give you? Like, did that relationship fare different afterwards, or you know what I mean?
No, we still talk like almost like what sometimes like whenever he got time, we'll talk, chop it up. But during that time, man, like it was just crazy because I'm just going through it. And what's crazy is they said if I wanted to stay in college, I probably won't play until January the 10th. All that stuff happened in November.
Yeah.
So, and they said in order for me to play January the 10th, I had to pay all the money back and stuff. But I didn't even have the money because I was a real college student. I didn't have no money. I didn't go to college and I didn't get nothing from that. Like I just wanted to go play ball because that's what I love. I don't care about the money.
Yeah, that's right.
But like when all this stuff happened, like it was just crazy, and it took I had to grow up really fast after that, super fast.
And I really believe him that it's not about the money. Because he don't spend no money.
And
he make a lot of money.
Yeah, no,
like you can see, I can smell her with money that's paid in full.
Yeah.
And I can smell it on him, but I don't see it. Like he's just a regular kid, man. I truly respect that about you. Like the money hasn't affected you. You haven't let it change you. You stay true to who you are. And that's why I want to tap into another one of your passion projects. You know, things that I've been noticing you've been doing off the court. And as Black athletes is used against us sometimes, you know, because what do you hear if you don't make a shot? You hear the noise. Well, go shoot 1,000 more shots. About you, I've noticed that you've really been into music, and I don't know how much you've shared it, but when I heard it, I was taken aback because I said, "Oh, you can really rap," and it's you know, you're rapping to who you are, you know, and we've had conversations with other NBA players. You know, I've talked to Bones Highland, and he's really into rap, but he's rapping about who he truly is. So that's what I respect. And so just kind of talk to us about how that came about and where you want to take it.
Man, what's crazy is I made all that music during my rehab because I was going through a lot.
Oh, makes sense.
And like, you know, I had a lot, you know, during rehab, you got a lot of time.
Yeah.
So,
and time keeps going. Like the team just forgets it. Like just live like, damn, so I'm really solo? Y'all forgot all about me. Like,
for real.
Yeah.
And that took a toll on me mentally because I'm like, man, I want to be with my team, but I'm all the way back here. I got a huge brace on my leg. I'm just sitting on the couch watching the games. I'm like, bruh, like why I'm not out there? And that brings a lot of grief. You know, It really do. So
what do you normally, you know, what's your subject matter in your music? And, you know, like I said, like, what do you hope to do? What do you continue with and what do you want to get from it? And you produce too, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
But yeah, man, it's really just for fun. I just do it just to keep my creativity alive, man, just to do stuff outside of basketball. I'm not only just a basketball player, like I do more stuff outside of that. And just trying to break that because it's like a stigma on athletes where it's like they, you know, media just feel like we just can't do nothing but just play basketball.
Correct.
But people are more talented than that.
Who's your comparison? Who you flow like?
Man, myself, just like Andre said, I just self-explanatory. I just rap about my life, what I went through and everything. And in terms of like taking the music forward, I mean, we'll just see. I don't know.
Who's your inspiration when you're like, you know, we all have our inspirations in basketball, you know, but who's someone you say when they rap, you really feel it. And it's like, listen, I'm going to take that same energy and put it on the paper when I start writing.
You got to say Young Buck. Don't do that. Straight Out Cashville was a great album, so don't even do that, bro.
It was a good album.
All right, so just keep going. All right, never mind. I won't say nothing else.
Man,
no, it's a classic.
I was confused.
That's a classic.
You heard that interview?
Yeah, he was bogus for that. But keep going.
Keep going.
I'd say probably Nas.
Oh yeah.
Oh, word? Oh, yeah.
Nas, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, and probably like Andre 3000. Yeah, for sure.
Bad.
Yeah.
I'll listen to your little mixtape, man.
I feel like I hear some J. Cole in there too.
Yeah, J. Cole for sure.
Yeah, like J. Cole. You know, I can hear him saying the first time he, you know, kissed a girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, he talk about rehab. Like, this is what I'm going through, and I don't have to transform to something else to sell my music. I'm just stay true to who I am. So
speaking of which, that's a great word you use, transform. As a big man, as a dominant big man, you're starting to see the role of the big kind of change a bit.
Right.
So in your head growing up, when you were coming into the game, you starting to see the bigs, they have to stretch the floor more. You're starting to see Vic Wembanyama, he's putting on the floor and everything. I always wondered, coming in as a dominant big, like how did you feel with the role of the big and how it's evolving? And then how do you have to adjust considering you start out your career with the back to the basket and dominating in the paint, and that's not as sexy anymore. You know what I mean? So how do you think you have to develop going on in order to leave that same type of imprint that you had all throughout your career prior to the NBA? And, you know, do you think it's something you can do, and do you think, do you love or hate that how the big is being used these days?
No, I love it because you got it. I mean, the game is going to expand in years anyways, especially like you said, the bigs coming in and stuff like that. So I used to watch KG when I was younger too, especially when he was in Minnesota. So I already knew that, okay, like I'm growing, like I'm already 6'8", 6'7" in 8th grade, so I know that I'm going to become a big. But I just made sure that, okay, in the future, I got to make sure I get these guard skills and make sure that I can be able to shoot the ball from 15 foot out and just be able to stretch the floor, because that's what's going to happen, like in the future of bigs. So, yeah, I kind of already had that idea.
Well, I meant to mention something to you about your Mandarin. And this is something I always go back and say, and it's, you know, we talk about businesses outside the game. You know, you want to get into music, but how do you turn it into a business? You know, in terms of one of our largest fan bases is China. I always wish I learned Mandarin. And so for me to you, I feel like you should embrace that. Like, that's just an incredible basketball community. Like, they really rock with us heavy. They have more people.
There's 350 million people in America, and there's 350 million people in China that play basketball each day.
Every day.
So, like, I
so
mean,
just imagine.
I mean, just imagine when we figure out a way to get the NBA China money, how much that'll come out to. They're making tons of money every day aside from the NBA.
And when you talk about business specifically, you know, you've been wearing Nikes a lot. You were with a Chinese shoe company for a hot second, right?
Yeah,
you were Anta, right? So I guess my question would be, you know, as you continue to grow your brand and being a Mandarin speaking Black athlete, super rare. Like, the business opportunities are just there for you. Like, you can't even count it. Was that a part of that decision to go with Anta? And then have you ever thought about moving in that direction? Because, you know, we always looking at each other's sneakers. You know, we're always trying to see, you know, who's paying how much each guy's making. But how have you gone through, you know, making a decision on, you know, who you're partnering with in terms of your NBA endorsements?
Man, what's crazy is, like, I'm not even finna lie, but in 9th grade, that's what I was thinking about. That's why I took Chinese.
Oh.
Because, like, my friends was taking Spanish, so I wanted to be different. So that's why I took it. And also, I knew that the game was going to be global, like, in the future. Yeah. And it's going to expand overseas, so that's why I did it, too. That's why I did it.
Man, that's amazing, because to be honest with you, when I was a kid, even Europe seemed like the moon to me.
Right,
you know what I mean? So for you to have that confidence, be like, yo, in 8th grade, I'm supposed to hoop, and tell me I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to be a big ticket bet. When I get there in China, I'll be ready for China. Like, I give you much respects and snaps for that, because see that focal vision and have that awareness to, you know, really continue to add value to your passion and mission that you're on is admirable.
So I'm asking you this question for a reason. Who was one of your favorite teachers?
So, like, we say Lao Shi. Lao Shi means teacher in Mandarin, Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's my guy's name, Andrew Kelly. And he was my Chinese teacher in 9th, 10th grade. And he taught me everything. Like, I used to, like, even after I got all my work done in the gym, I used to go back and just go to study hall and just study some more. So, like, he used to teach me everything. And, like, that's my guy to this day.
That's dope.
Yeah.
But I also heard a quote from one of your teachers stating that, you know, you were just a profound thinker. And I heard that, you know, you had an interest in philanthropy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really want to tap into that, you know, kind of, I couldn't even say the word when I was your age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Or what, you know, it's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. I always mention it. My wife talks about it, how our traumas grow with us, and it can determine who we become if we don't face it the right way, or who we can become if we do face it the right way. So talk to me about your experiences in life that led you to wanting to become someone who gives back.
Really just watching you, just watching LeBron, and like seeing how he created a whole academy just for kids. And just seeing that at a young age, seeing Dre becoming a venture capitalist after his NBA career. Like, man, just seeing all that stuff just inspired me at a young age. Like, for real, just like your story, LeBron's story, you got Stephen Curry, you got like just how their brands is just like has expanded just by them putting in work on the basketball floor, on the basketball court, and just letting that expand just by using their creativity is crazy to me. So yeah, that's what inspired me for real, to become that.
So is there anything specifically that you looking to tap into, or you just want to be able to, be able to build something on the court that'll translate off the court and you'll be able to provide for kids?
To be honest, man, like I'm really just focused on the court right now and just focus on grinding.
As
like that's really it.
Yep. That's what Joe didn't want to hear.
That's really it.
So with that being said, I know you already think years in advance. If you had to say or paint a perfect picture, going forward after having your first game, year 3, what would the next 10 years be like on the court as a Warrior? The goals, and then off the court, like realistically, like what you see how Dre built his foundation. You see how Draymond, Steph, and Clay, they set tones for where it's they changed the whole fan base, changed the whole culture. They really took a whole organization from Oakland to San Fran. Like what's the milestones that you really want to hit that's going to leave a big impact? You know what I'm saying?
I just want to be known as a true professional that played the game the right way, coming in the NBA. But also outside of that, I just want to be a multidimensional person that can be able to do plenty things and be able to inspire and help people. But at the same time, like I'm just in the present moment. Like I just leave that up to God. So really, I just keep my faith strong and just keep enduring even through the good and the bad, but also just knowing that it's God that's steering the wheel, that's taking this over. So I really don't know. But I say, man, hopefully I do become one of the greatest players and be up there with Iggy and just up there with Steph and them. So yeah, I mean, that's the plan.